Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is Montana This Morning from Montana's news leader.
Well, good morning. Thanks for waking up with us this Monday. I'm Justine Stewart.
And I'm Louis Stewart. Hope you're having a great start to your Monday. And Justine, you know what I just realized this morning?
What?
We're exactly 3 weeks away from Christmas. Exactly.
When you put it that way, it just sounds frightening because I'm not prepared yet.
It seems to sneak up on you so fast.
Always does, every year.
Like, I can't believe it. Exactly 3 weeks. Now, as far as your weather goes, Justine, we're going to be looking at temperatures that are going to feel like Christmas out there. 20s, lower 30s. Unfortunately, the snow that we saw over the weekend, that's going to be the last that we're going to see, at least for the next week or so.
Okay.
As a high pressure is going to build in, and we're going to see dry conditions build in, cold temperatures, but then also the stagnant pattern in the ingredients that we have going in are going to be very favorable for valley fog by the middle and end of the week. So we'll be talking about that as we move throughout the morning here. Here's those details. Dry this week, like I mentioned. Cold temperatures, highs in the middle 20s just to lower 30s. And then valley inversions with fog. And it could be one of those situations that when fog builds in by the morning, it's going to stick around because it's so hard with these cool temperatures to really burn that off and get that daytime heating. So we could be talking about prolonged fog events, and I'll take a closer look at that here coming up. Here's your Monday forecast. 33 across the board from Missoula, Kalispell, Hamilton, and Polson. We'll see mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies overhead.
GOP lawmakers will now try to find common ground between the tax overhaul bills passed by the House and Senate. The potential sticking points could be last-minute changes made to the Senate bill in order to secure enough votes to pass it. The goal is to have a final copy on the president's desk by Christmas. One woman is dead after a single vehicle crash just outside Dillon on Highway 15. Montana Highway Patrol says the victim was a 24-year-old female from Idaho Falls who was driving northbound late Saturday night when that vehicle drifted off the left-hand side of the road. She then overcorrected and that vehicle rolled multiple times. Officials say the woman was wearing a seatbelt but died due to chest, neck, and head injuries. MHP says drugs and speed are suspected in this crash. Montana Highway Patrol reports this crash is the 173rd fatal of the year. Suicide is a widespread problem in Montana, and for decades, Montana has had one of the highest suicide rates in the country. There's a movement, though, happening across the Big Sky to address the issue and provide resources and change how people think about depression and mental illness. In Cascade County, teens are teaming up with Alliance for Youth to put suicide prevention resources into the hands of every Montanan.
Cell phones. It's difficult to come across someone without a phone in their hand, purse, or pocket. Now, a new app is utilizing that accessibility.
So that was the whole idea behind it, to give resources that were relevant, and then we were able to check them and make sure that they were valid and good information from trusted sources.
The free Let's Talk app is the result of a lot of hard work from a partnership between Alliance for Youth and 2 DECA students from Belt, who were looking for a way to bring positive change to their community.
The Alliance for Youth conducted a survey, and they found that 3 out of every 10 high school students in Cascade County have been sad or depressed for multiple days in a week. So 3 out of every 10 is 30%, and there's only 70-some kids in Belt. So when we calculate it out, that would be 22 kids that are affected by a mental health issue. So we realized that there was actually a big part, and there's probably a lot of kids that are being overlooked.
Beyond the numbers, they're hoping to cultivate a culture change through the app.
I feel like this app is just something that will reach what teenagers are interested in, and everyone always has their phone on them.
Mental health is a taboo thing to talk about. The stigma behind it makes people believe that there's something wrong with them or they're weak, instead of it's okay, I have an illness and there's things I can do about it. So we want to change that conversation and make it something that's easily brought up. You don't have to be like, oh, I think I'm depressed today, and somebody tell you to suck it up. Oh, really? What's that feel like? What can we do? Really being there for everybody.
There's hope out there. There's light at the end of the tunnel. There's always something you can do about a mental illness or any burden in your life, really.
The Let's Talk app provides resources, information, and connections, from videos about mental disorders to warning signs, and even designated safe places to go in Great Falls to talk.
Real simple, easy directions that a lot of people are afraid of, and they're there, so you don't have to be alone if you're helping somebody in a crisis or if you are in a crisis.
In Great Falls, Shannon Newth, MTN News.
Right now, the app is available in Great Falls, but they are hoping to soon expand it to Butte, Kalispell, Browning, and Helena as well. With the snowy and icy conditions we had, it's a good reminder to take extra care when you're out and about. Last year, St. Peter's Hospital in Helena saw over 60,000 visits at their emergency room and urgent care locations, and want to remind folks that winter injuries can happen to anyone. Slip and fall accidents are increasingly more common once snow and ice are present, and they can be particularly hard on older adults. According to the CDC, among older adults, there are over 800,000 patients a year that become hospitalized because of a fall injury. Heart attacks are also a risk when having to do strenuous snow removal. Injuries always vary, and they want people to know what injuries or symptoms require what kind of care.
If you have a simple bruise or sprain of your ankle or your wrist, you can go to an urgent care. But if you have chest pain, you need to come to the emergency room where we can properly take care of you.
Doctors say that if you're unsure of the severity of your injury or illness, it's always better to be safe and get it checked out. Montana's wheat and barley industry taking center stage as farmers from across Montana meet in Great Falls for the Montana Grain Growers Association's annual convention. MTN's Russell Nemens is there and brings us this update.
Well, as talks start to heat up regarding the next farm bill, Montana is lucky to have a big and supportive voice back at that farm bill discussion table. In that, Gordon Stoner from Outlook, Montana, is now serving as the acting president of the National Association of Wheat Growers. And here at the MGGA convention in Great Falls, Gordon, you just updated membership and attendees about some of NOG's priorities for the next farm bill. What are some of those?
Well, certainly crop insurance is number one. Ag with systemic risk needs crop insurance to protect them from the weather events that we see. The safety net of ARC PLC, the Farm Bill programs, certainly a priority, and beyond that, conservation.
You and I have talked a lot about the Farm Bill and many of these different programs, and we've talked that the Farm Bill just isn't important for farmers. It's also important for rural states like Montana and our Main Street businesses.
Absolutely. Agriculture is Montana's number one business. When agriculture does well, Main Street does well. So certainly helps Main Street. Beyond that, for those that have come on rough times, the SNAP program, food stamps, part of the Farm Bill, and it gives them a leg up as well.
Last question, will we get a Farm Bill in 2018?
Well, we never know for certain, but the House bill is written. We expect to see it in January. The Senate will likely move next summer, so we may very well have a bill by next fall.
Perfect. Well, thanks for being with us again.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Again, we've been visiting with Gordon Stoner, the acting president of the National Association of Wheat Growers from Outlook, Montana. Reporting from the Montana Grain Growers Convention here in Great Falls, I'm Russell Nemitz.
He says a special event at this year's convention is the 50-year anniversary celebration of the Montana Wheat Barley Committee, the producer-funded checkoff organization whose mission is to foster the health and prosperity of the Montana wheat and barley industry. Well, sky gazers across the world have been gathering to watch a stunning supermoon which rose Sunday night. The full moon is in December, also known as the cold moon. Supermoons happen when the moon is in its closest orbit to Earth, therefore appearing larger and brighter in the sky. There have been two other supermoons in 2017, the first on the 12th of January and the other on November 3rd. Time for your weather on the 8s now. Lewis is standing by with the latest.
All right, thank you, Justine. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully having a good start to your Monday. How about this nice picture sent in over the weekend? Maybe get out and do some hiking. She said the dog. Let's think about maybe going for a swim in the river. Maybe a little bit too cold for that. Either way, though, thank you so much for the pictures. Keep them coming in. Like I mentioned, we have some really nice ones, and we'll continue to show those throughout the morning here. A quick look at your radar is showing some light snow continuing to fall. You may wake up in Missoula to a few flurries falling. Around Seeley Lake, St. Ignatius, maybe a few light snow showers, a few flurries. But for the most part, those heavier bands have slid off to the east. So around Great Falls here, we still have some heavier bands of snow setting up. That's going to continue join you throughout the morning. And if you are doing any travel over the passes, heading over into the Montana and Idaho border or over the divide here, we are seeing some slick roads. So here's your pass update. This is your travel watch. Lookout Pass, Lolo Pass, Lost Trail Pass right there on the Montana and Idaho border. And then as you head over towards the divide, Roger Pass and McDonald Pass, snow covered and snow and ice being reported there. And so here's what it looks like. Here's some pictures for you. Lolo Pass and Lost Trail Pass. You can see, yeah, we have those snow-covered roads, a little bit of ice as well. So again, give yourself extra time as that snow over the weekend is creating some slippery roads. However, like I mentioned, for you snow lovers out there, this is going to be the last snow we're going to see at least for the next 7 to 10 days, as we are going to bring in another high pressure system that looks to last for a while. Now here's your Hamilton hour-by-hour forecast for today. Beautiful picture this weekend sent in to us by Colleen down in Hamilton. I love this, and that will be the backdrop for this. 24 by 8 a.m., 28 by 11, 32 by 1, 32 by around 4 p.m. We're going to see a high of about 33 in Hamilton for today. And what about this picture? This was sent in to us by Shiloh over Missoula. She said this was taken from her drone. A drone, pretty cool there. Sunday morning. Love this fantastic photo here. Shiloh, thank you for this one. Again, for Missoula, highs only in the upper 20s and lower 30s with about a 33-degree high today. Here's your 7-day forecast for Missoula. Notice the next 7 days, we're going to see dry conditions, but we're talking about valley inversions, so chilly temperatures. Lows in the teens, highs only in the upper 20s and lower 30s. Same thing for Kalispell. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and through the weekend, we're also talking about some dense fog that could form, and under these conditions, we could see fog last all day. Here's your 7-day forecast for Hamilton. Highs only in the lower 30s the next 7 days.
Wow, look at that. Very cold overnight, too.
Very cold. We could see single digits in teens, and then with this pressure in place, high pressure, it's going to be hard to warm it up. So teens overnight, 20s and 30s by the afternoon.
All right. Well, thanks for that, Lewis. And stick around because we'll be right back with a bunch more. But first, here's some birthday shout-outs coming up for you.